Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Our monthly KW Mastermind session over here. Super excited. It's going to be a fun one, and one that is, wealthy with a lot of information. Happen to be how to build wealth, right? Wealth building. And I'm going to drop the screen share so you can see the faces of our guests over here. Let me see. You guys all spotlighted, so that's awesome. We have Katie Campbell. Katie is here to represent KWRI, the new wealth division. Super excited to hear from you, Katie, about that and what you guys are up to. Long time coming, right?
Yes.
And we have Lindsey Iskierka. Lindsey is a top producer team out of the Long Beach office, part of the green team, and she's also herself an investor. So that's going to be something that we can learn from. And we have Branden Lowder. Branden is also a team lead, big team out of here in Southern California. He's also a team leader out of Colorado and an investor. So we have a pretty awesome group today. I'm going to have you, Katie, open up, kind of lead us through the division and what's new. And Lindsey, Branden, feel free to ask questions. Then we're going to kind of pull you into the conversation, talking about all the good stuff. So take it away, Katie.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm Katie Campbell. I am the community manager for KW Wealth. We are a new community. We just launched back in July-ish. So our community is for people who are totally focused on wealth, growing their net worth, and people who just want to grow, right? So I like to say we want to grow your net worth and your network, because nothing's fun if you're doing it alone or with people that you don't like. So we like to have fun while we're doing this. So we are chock full of people who are investors of all different levels. Tons of different experience. We have a great group so far. We are putting together syndications. We have deals going on in our group. We just have a lot of great educational opportunities, and we do deep dives on different topics, talking about how we can grow your wealth, how you can be creative, what some of the strategies are that you can use. I will say that last Monday we were at our wealth workshop down in Austin, and during the class we had somebody actually save $50,000 on his taxes from things that were implemented while Brett was presenting. So it's been a great ride so far, and we have some huge things planned for 2023. We have 2 different events that you'll see popping up. They come across multiple times a year, but we have our workshops, which we call kind of a buffet, right? It gives you a sampling of different strategies, different tactics you can use. Don't let that lead you into believing that it's light or that it's not deep or that it's not important information. It's a lot to take in. However, it'll give you kind of a good overview. And then we have our masterminds, which you would equate more to a Michelin rated meal, right? So these are deep dives, high level conversations, industry experts, topic experts, and just really going deep on things that you can implement right then and there to greatly affect your net worth and your growth plan for your life. So for our workshops, if you ever attend, one of the pieces of homework you have ahead of time is actually fill out our tracker and our plan on how to get to a net worth of 50 million in 30 years. It's a great exercise. If you've never sat down and thought that way before, I highly recommend doing it. But I feel like that just kind of gives you a little glimpse into what we're doing.
Hey, Katie, real quick,
Yeah.
What's the participation like so far? And, something I've always experienced personally just over the years myself, and then when I became an instructor, is how intimidating a $50 million net worth number can sound, right? So you're encouraging all walks, right, to participate at that level. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have people who are involved who have never invested a dime, not in stocks, not in real estate, not in anything, right? We have people who are curious to learn, and then we have people whose net worth exceeds $50 million. So we really do have all levels. And one of the things that I really cherish is this community acts as a community, and everybody wants each other to grow. So the vulnerability that's shown has been really important. Our engagement and participation has been incredible. I'll tell you that the workshop we just had in December was actually booked because our other one sold out and people asked for another one. And we booked the one in December and that one sold out as well. And people who come are just, it's a lot of information, but it's a lot of strategies that you can implement right away. And, you know, we had a lot of people take quick action while they were sitting in class. And it's been really impressive to see how people are diving in.
Does that 50 million, is that a guarantee if we sign up?
And I wish. If you follow the steps in 30 years, then maybe, but don't come for me for that.
Sign up today, right?
Yeah. We have the highest registration level of any community if that was the case.
Right. Hey, did you are you guys gonna have a booth this coming February in Anaheim?
Oh yeah, listen, we've got a booth, we've got like 15 speakers coming, we have a bunch of breakouts. Next year we have 3 masterminds, they're 2-day events, and then we have, I think, 6 workshops planned. I'll be at the booth basically the entire time of family reunion. So yes, we will be there and we'll be loud. We're not really a quiet group. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Brett Tanner speak, but he is a very charismatic person.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions in a second, but let's do kind of a quick intro as well. Lindsey, start with you. Give us a background, and then of course you're in real estate, and then your investor hat, if you may.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for having me, you guys. And this is fantastic. I wish that something like this existed when I first gotten started. I've had to figure out a lot of things on my own, but community is so important in real estate. So my name is Lindsey Iskierka. I'm out of the Coastal Properties office in Long Beach, and I lead the Southern California division of the David Green team. So if you guys know what Bigger Pockets is, if you've heard of that, it's a real estate investing forum. They've got podcasts, they've got books, they've got everything potentially, a lot of stuff for free that you can download and utilize towards learning how to invest in real estate. And there's a podcast. And so my partner, David Green, he's out of the Northern California office. I'm his partner for Southern California. So I've been an investor myself since 2015. I invest in long-term rentals. I have short-term rentals. We've done house hacking, which is like where you buy a multifamily property, you live in it, rent out the other units, help pay down your mortgage. We've made mistakes. We've had some great success, and it's a blessing. So I think a lot of the clients that I help, my team helps, I have some of my teammates on here. We help people do the same thing, not just buy a primary home, but start to really invest and look at it from a whole financial wealth perspective. And I think it's so important as agents, if we want to be influential, if we want to be able to be a really good resource for our clients and a consultant, we have to understand the investing side of real estate. Not necessarily that you have to do syndications or short-term rentals or own apartments or whatnot, but you have to have a basic fundamental understanding of the type of investment your client is making. So we really focus on that with our clients, and I've been able to build my wealth. It's been a huge blessing, and love what I do. I'm excited to be here.
That's awesome, Lindsey. Thank you for sharing. Kim, thanks for sharing the link to Bigger Pockets.
Can I pop in real quick to you, Lindsey? Is that I have a bunch of personal friends who have credited Bigger Pockets to getting them started on their wealth journey, and just how it's so much better than they ever expected. They really dove in, and like life-changing for them. It's been incredible. Yeah. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to hear from you.
Thank you. Bigger Pockets changed my life. And I think what you guys are doing is so important to people who wouldn't have access to this information otherwise. So I hope every KW agent listens to KW Wealth and considers it.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Branden.
Yes, sir.
So give us a quick background about you in real estate, and then the investor hat.
I don't know if I have a quick background, Meny, you know that. So this will be my coming up on my 30th year in real estate, believe it or not. So I'm one of those guys that doesn't look old but feels old. And, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones when I started, right? So I'm blessed myself that not only have I been, real estate's been a big part of my life. I didn't grow up in money. Took me quite some time, as a cocky young man to grow up. And I was always good at helping people in real estate transactions and making money. And it wasn't really until the last downturn, 2010, I got an opportunity to work for a large organization and travel and teach investing in real estate. And not just teach investing in real estate, but understand the perspective of encouraging other real estate agents to learn how to do it responsibly, and then more importantly, become a value add to your clients and even investors. And so what was important for me is as I was traveling and teaching investing, I realized I can't teach and be a hypocrite. So it forced me into learning how to do things in a really big picture. And just as Katie was mentioning and Lindsey was mentioning, I would add that there are so many different types of investing that you take your time. And I think what I saw quickly over the last 7 to 8 years is how entrenched we get with HGTV and selling sunset, and real estate sometimes can be portrayed as day trading, and I would definitely caution against that, right? As an example, some of this business is very speculative. So I think it starts with having a good foundation of education and surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded and they genuinely have an interest in your success. And I love that KWRI has their own community now around it, because there are so many things that you can learn, and there's a lot of pitfalls and obstacles as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put in this new, it's not a new class, but it's been tabled since 2015. I'm rolling this out in March. This is a great 2-day course for agents. And this is how Tammy and I built our book of business. We were at a point, Meny, where, and I can tell you, of the 123 investor clients we have, I would tell you 92 of them have their own real estate license. And if you were to ask why did they get their real estate license, the most common answer is they want to save the real estate fee. Right. And I will tell you that according to our clients, it's not that. They couldn't find an agent worth paying the fee. And so if you can really learn the value that an agent can bring outside of, hey, Lindsey, here's an address, what do you think, is not necessarily the best marketing approach with your investors, right? So I think really understanding investing yourself is the first step. And if you can do exactly what, Lindsey and her team and, Bigger Pockets have been able to do, they're leading by example, and they're not necessarily just selling you something that you have to try and figure out on your own. So I think the step one is being super comfortable with your first step in investing. And I would also encourage, and I'd love Katie and Lindsey's opinion on this, I think your personal residence is not necessarily how you approach investing in real estate. It is an investment, but it's a different type of investment. And I think it's good to get your feet wet.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome, Branden, thank you. And Branden also wears the trainer hat. Thank you for the reminder. And feel free to drop the link over there for your class coming up. I think one of them is going to be here in the South Bay office, or in the South Bay area, for all of our sister offices coming up. And Lindsey, we would definitely need to bring David Green over here together with you to do the seminar. So we're going to talk about that as well. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, let's put it together.
Yeah. So here's a question for you, right? Because if I go by KW Wealth, our community, so their vision, right, or maybe a mission statement is they say, no matter where you're at on your journey to build wealth, their goal is to provide the agent with the playbook, right, for achieving that. So Katie, maybe with you first, like when you guys say playbook, what does it mean? And then I want to ask Lindsey and Branden, like, if right now you had to ask, tell us, hey, this is the playbook, those are the steps. I want to hear a little bit about that approach. And you guys, spoke a little bit about that as well.
Sure. So for us, you're never going to see us send out something that says, here's how to get wealthy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because everybody's journey is different, right? Everybody starts at a different place. Everybody has different passions. Some people don't even want a net worth of $50 million. Some people want $200 million. Like, nobody has the same journey. Something that we will always stand by is that We all know the bold law, right? The purpose of business is to fund a perfect life. So whatever your investing journey is should feed directly into your mission. Our playbook looks more like we want you to be educated. So we will continue to provide education. We want you to protect your assets. So a lot of people know how to make money, but not necessarily how to protect the money that they have and have it be working for them. And we want you to be smart about your tax strategies. We're not tax specialists. I'm not a professional tax. Don't hold me to anything of that, but we want to open your eyes to things that you may not know about. There's tons of opportunities that people don't take advantage of because they aren't known. So our playbook comes from a point of education and mastermind, and also connecting people doing the things you want to do so that you can get into business with them.
I think it's really smart, because if you were to give like a, hey, start here, then buy this, then buy this, then buy this, by the time that people got into investment property number 1 or 2, they may have a totally different mindset in terms of what they like and what they don't like. So, you know, when we're helping clients, we're like, okay, hey, are you renting? Let's fix that first, right? Why go buy a house in the Midwest that cash flows $100-200 a month when your rent increase next year is gonna be $200? Like, that's silly, right? Let's start with that first, and we will help clients. Like, I like what Branden, what you were talking about, is that your primary residence isn't really the same investment as investment properties, but I also think there's an opportunity perhaps for the right person, right life stage, right area, right budget, right mindset, to see this as their opportunity to get their feet wet and do like a house hack. Buy a house that's bigger than what you need and sacrifice comfort for a little bit to start earning some rental income. Tap your toe into being a landlord. See what you like, what you don't like. What asset class are you leaning more towards? Do you like managing your rentals, or do you want to be more passive? You want to be more passive. Okay, let's look at maybe like a syndication. Let's look at different things, or like a turnkey property model. That might be a better fit for you, where other people are like, I want to get in there. I want to design a property. I want to be actively involved. I want this to be my business. Then maybe like a short-term rental or rental properties or midterm rentals will be a better fit for that person. So by educating, giving people their options, saying just get started. The first property will not make you financially free. The first property will not make you a net worth millionaire. It maybe over time, if you hold on to that thing for long enough. But the point is just to get started, take consistent actions, and pivot as market shifts happen. Pivot, realize the opportunities in every single type of market shift that we have, and then just continue to take action and not be stagnant, you know, and just make educated guesses the whole way through. So I love that you guys focus on education versus the game plan, because a game plan is, you know, there's so many ways to build this, and it's going to be independent upon that investor and that client. And as agents, I think what we need to realize, we already have a leg up. We are real estate professionals. Again, not a tax advisor. Don't, you know, talk to your CPA, but we are real estate professionals. You already have an advantage among anybody else to start taking advantage of the tax advantages that come from real estate. And so might as well get as much information as you can. Then you also walk with a bit more confidence when you meet a higher net worth client, when you meet a client that wants to buy their 4th property. You know, you kind of walk with a different swagger, and you have a different set of skills that most agents, like Branden said, you can't find an agent worth working with. So investors just do it themselves. They're like, you know, these agents are just, they're watching Selling Sunset, and that's their education, right? You need to know what you're talking about and how to guide these people. So I think, if anything, their own confidence as an agent, maximizing their tax benefits, and then starting to build wealth with consistent steps. So it's gonna be a long-term process, but here's the playbook. I think it's a great approach.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think everything, especially with what the community is doing, is aligning with what we're trying to help agents do with their business. And that's, what is your 5-year goal? What is your big why? What is, you know, it's hard to visualize having a 50 million net worth if you don't even know what your big why is, or how to even begin achieving that, right? And, you know, I can use myself as an example. You know, if I'm new to investing and I'm in Los Angeles, $1.5 million property, that might be really intimidating. And the beauty about investing in real estate is you can invest anywhere. So I had to take a baby step and buy a $220,000 property in Arizona, because that was way more comfortable for my first one, right? Than committing to something else. And again, it's how you approach it, but it's who are you aligned with and how are you educated on those things. we met a lot of individuals over the years who are brand new to investing in real estate. And ironically, their first choice, the first thing that came to mind was flipping a house. And in investing, and you heard both Katie and Lindsey mention that the strategy and the long-term plan is different than rolling the dice on what the market's going to do 8 months from now after you get the remodel done, right? That's a high risk, high reward, kind of thing. But I also have friends who had $500,000 and did they want to buy one property? No, they found 9 properties in Detroit that they could buy for $500,000 that all rented out for $850 each. And if you ran the numbers on that, you'd be like, wow, that's an amazing return. But do you want to go to Detroit, right? All of those things are a big part of it. Statistically, most people's first investment is within 20 miles of where they live. And that's an example of being, you want to be in your comfort zone. So I think being cognizant of things and seeking help and guidance and not trying to do things on your own, especially today when you have groups like our community and you have bigger pockets, and it's a great outreach program to help you make those decisions.
Well, and I love what you said there, right, about not doing it on your own, because there are so many resources. Of course, we have our community, we have bigger pockets, but like, look at you're teaching classes, you're teaching people your journey or what they should know or what they should be cognizant of. Surrounding people with, you're not doing this alone. It can be really intimidating. I always say the first step to anything is know where you are, right? So you need to actually sit down and look and know your current net worth, so you know where you can go and your current tax liability. But other than that, take a look at the resources that are abundant and figure out which one fits best for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny. It's right. If we were to take a poll right now, does anybody know anyone looking for a deal?
Right.
So I think our job really is to help our clients. We need to define what their definition of deal is. We need to understand what, just like if you ask 10 agents the same question, you get 10 answers. It's the same thing in the investor space. Some of them prefer a cap number or a cash on cash number, or, and until you understand the language and you understand how important that is to the investor, it's going to be hard for you to make those decisions on investing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and until you find the right fit, I think too, right? And Lindsey, you talked about that. What's the best fit for you? Our director of KW Wealth, she actually invests in, she has an RV park. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's an RV park. It's adults only, and it's dog friendly. So they cater to the dogs, and that's what they love to do. And that's one of their major investments, is they run this RV park.
Yep.
And it's RV parks and mobile homes are great for that. And she loves it. It's something they're passionate about. And also the numbers make a lot of sense for them.
Oh, that's good cash flow of that stuff. I mean, one of the largest REITs in America is Equity Lifestyle Properties. They own 2,700 RV parks and like 3,200 mobile home parks. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people go to mobile home parks and RV parks in a smart way, because they don't want to deal with having to maintain the actual property. So if you own the park, you're collecting space rent, you got to maintain the land, utilities, but the individual unit is up to the person. So you kind of eliminate that, but that's usually like a step, unless you're syndicating into that kind of a property, that is like a step 3, 4, 5, 20 down the road. Sure. Once you've taken a few steps. So I think is really important. I'm sure you guys emphasize this, and this is why, it's important for people who are new to join a community that is alongside them, but also maybe a few steps ahead, right? To kind of show them, hey, here's the next steps. Here's where you should be. Here's where you can be in 5 years. If you follow this plan and just take advantage of it. But seeing what's possible in 10 years, 30 years, like you can get to that point, but this is not a buy the RV park tomorrow situation, right? No. People who own those have been doing this for a really long time. And I think community is so important. Like you said, Branden, I would argue probably most of us didn't come from money. Most of us, we got into real estate. I don't know if anyone else is like me, but it took a few years for my family to actually think that I could make it in real estate. Like they're just like, that's cute. Good luck. We'll see. Right. It took a long time of proving to them this is the right path. And I'd argue like the agents on my team, I guarantee their steps way ahead because of who they're surrounded by. And so you could take advantage of that as an agent in any walk of life, if you just get in the room, you should be not the smartest and not the richest person in any room that you're in. So when you join a community like that, you're
That's it,
already
that's the
giving
call.
yourself, yes, your net worth is your net worth. And so you're given a great opportunity with KW Wealth to have accountability and get around people that are also having the same pursuit.
Yeah, and just even understanding financing, first time investor as an example. I mean, how many FHA borrowers are there in LA County?
Oh,
And
probably
right?
80% of our buyers are FHA.
So the beauty of that single family residence FHA borrower is for the same money, a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex gets them that much more bang for their buck if we help them just see that. And I find it interesting if I've got a $900,000 or an $800,000 FHA borrower, and if I'm in real estate and I make money based off the sales price, and I could take that same borrower and sell them a $2 million fourplex for the same money, like that's a win-win for me too. So just even getting to a place where you can demonstrate to investors how they can leverage their money in a different way, I think is huge. How many of our lenders even know how to approach that? And I don't even know that they do, honestly.
I can spout a not competent lender if I know someone wants a house hack, meaning they buy a 2, 3, or 4 unit property, and they give me 1 pre-approval. I'm like, nope,
Right.
You need to fire that lender.
Yeah.
So it's also important to have like a good lender partner that understands the game. And it's like if you're an investor, right? You would ask your agent if you maybe sophisticated or consciousness. You're gonna ask, hey, by the way, do you own any properties? The agents, right? So you ask, if you're dealing with that kind of niche type of buyers, ask the lender, hey, are you savvy enough? Do you own yourself, right? Like, are you in the game? I have a question for you, Lindsey and Branden. If you want to share one of your first investments, like how easy it was or how hard it was, and do you still have the property or do you miss it, or what's the story about that?
Oh, yeah. I just talked about this on the webinar I did the other night. So my first deal was a triplex. It was, we did a VA loan. So if you were a client as a veteran, they can take advantage of a 3 and 4 unit property without the self-sustainability rule that FHA carries. So keep in mind, if you have an FHA buyer, they're probably gonna be limited to a duplex in our area because self-sustainability pretty much kills any deal for 3 and 4 unit properties on FHA buyers. But VA, that does not apply. So we were able to take advantage of that. We bought a triplex, 0 down, but you do have to have reserves. So we had to save up. We lived with my grandmother for 1.5 years, pay off all of our debt and save up reserves for 3 to 6 months of full PITI payments to be able to buy our first triplex. It was in Long Beach, right off of Cherry and 3rd, right there by Retro Row. And loved that. My husband called it like the house of doors because it was an old craftsman house. It had like glass French doors all through the property. And there's a duplex in the back. We inherited tenants there, moved into the front house, and our out-of-pocket expense when we paid our mortgage and collected rental income in the beginning was like $1,850 a month, which is great. We financed the full $750 purchase price and just paid $1,800 out of pocket. Over the last the 2.5 years that we lived there, that actually dropped down to $1,300 a month because we increased rents. We added value to the property. So we were able to do renovations, increase rents at that time, and improve our cost of living. Then we were expecting our second baby. We had to move out because we were like, hey, we got a 2-bedroom unit, 2 under 2. So we moved out, rented it out, and all 3 units would rent out me cash flow $700 a month. So buying an asset that was terrifying. I remember sitting down with my lender at the time and I was like, how am I gonna make this mortgage payment? What if the market crashes? What if he was my husband was law enforcement at the time? What if he loses his job? What if, oh my gosh. And he showed me all of the depreciation, all of the rental income, all of the tax advantages. Like, you were actually paying $300 a month to live in this property. I was like, oh, my mind was blown. Right. And so I was like, okay, like I was terrified. I never had more than like $1,000 in my bank account, at that before I got into real estate. And so this mortgage payment was terrifying, but we did it. Best decision that we did. We did end up selling it pre-pandemic because we had all this equity, but we really couldn't access it efficiently with a HELOC or a cash out refi. So we thought at that time, maybe we're at the top of the market. We didn't know. This is pre-2020. And so 2019, we sold it. We did a 1031 exchange, bought 3 houses out of state. Last year, that same triplex that I sold, the person who bought it completely took it down to the studs and rebuilt it. That same house sold for 1.6 million. So to say I miss it, yes, but at the time, this is part of being an investor. This is part of the journey. This is part of the inevitable lessons that you're going to have to learn. We had to make the best decision that we could at the time. We didn't have the money to invest in new roofs, to redo the plumbing. We didn't have the capital to do the renovations that were needed to make the property worth what it could be. So we took what we could. We took the equity and bought out of state. We sold a few of those houses now. Now we've got around a portfolio of both long-term rentals and short-term rentals in California and out of California. And it's doing great. We're financially free on paper, which is wonderful. We work because we love it. I don't have to work if I don't want to. But, you know, it started with that first triplex. It started with a terrifying property, but made sense on paper and just took action. So I love sharing that with clients because I'm like, yeah, here's what can go wrong. Here's what the lessons I learned. Here's the mistakes that I made. Here's what I learned. I would have house hacked longer if I knew what I knew now, you know? Sure. So, yeah, that was my jump into real estate investing anyway.
I love that, you know, so here's, if whoever's making notes over there, first investment hack, live at your grandmother's for a year and a half.
I made her a house hacker. Sure did. Yes.
Yeah, you see, there you go. Awesome. Yeah.
Most people are not willing to make those sacrifices, right? So I'm sure KW Wealth and, you know, we have to ask ourselves as agents, as people and our clients, are you willing to make some sacrifices to comfort for a little bit? Are you willing to do what it takes to get to that higher net worth number? If you're not, that's okay. But just be honest with yourself and we'll have to find a different path for you. So if you want to go on this path that sounds cool, but you know, you are going to have tenants on your property, you know, you are maybe going to share some bedrooms. And are you willing to have that discomfort for a little bit, knowing it's a stepping stone? And some people are, some people are not. So they have to decide that, and that will alter their journey as they continue investing.
Yeah, it's almost like asking yourself, what kind of discomfort are you willing to commit to, right?
Yep.
Short term or a lifetime. So yeah, Branden, what's your story?
I have several, but I'm not gonna go down that path. I do think, you know, what Lindsey is alluding to there too is important, because you got to realize, you know, you've been, for however long you've been around, you've been told how important home ownership is. And right. And so sometimes you're going out of your way to put all of that into your home, the home of your dreams. And sometimes that just doesn't allow you the opportunity to make other investments. So house hacking can be an absolute good stepping stone, but I think you got to kind of know what your total goal is first, right? Meny, I started off, dude, selling dirt. And one of my favorite quotes from Mark Twain was, buy dirt because they ain't making any more of it, right? And so when you're in a small community in Arizona, Lake Havasu City, you know, I don't know how about you, but making a 5% sale on a $10,000 lot isn't exactly a lot of money. And so that's a lot of dirt to sell, right, to make a living. So I learned how to partner with the sellers and sell that 10,000 lot for 6,000 and split the difference with them, as an example. So instead of making $500, I was making $3,000, right? And I got to that place where after 3 or 4 lot sales, I could take that money and buy my own lot and turn around. So I did a lot of lot flipping, believe it or not, in the 90s. And because Lake Havasu was a growing community, there was a lot of spec homes that were being built. And I learned, you guys call it now syndicating, but I learned how to partner with other people to, you know, build a new home that someone wanted to purchase and make a little money doing that. And then I took it to the next level and learned, well, gee, if that lot that I want to sell for 20,000, I could actually sell for 25,000 to this builder who wants to build a spec house, but I just needed to subordinate it to him. And just learning how to subordinate, just learning creative financing and creative ways to do things, I think has helped me immensely. And getting into that place, what we call buy and hold, and actually committing to purchasing your first property that you can rent out. Our goal was to buy a house near a university where, you know, a traditional renter might pay, you know, $1,600 a month, but we could rent out 4 of the rooms at, you know, $500 each and make 2,000 was a better way to cash flow it, right? So a lot of different ways, many that I've been involved in real estate and investing, and all of it's been a great learning experience. But that just goes to show you how vast it can be. But at the same time, it can be just as simple as putting 5% down on your first investment property and going for it, you know?
I love that angle, by the way, because I know that a lot of, I'm not going to do any name drop, but a lot of successful agents out there, that's how they really made the quantum leap, if you may, right? The big jump from, live by the, from the commissions only to become active investor, right? Maybe it is a passive investing because it's, you don't necessarily have to own the property, but if you keep flipping the money, etc., that could be another avenue. It's a whole different wisdom, right?
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I wanted to just encourage something that Katie had said something earlier, and I have found historically this is a roadblock for a lot of people learning how to invest or getting into investing, and it does come down to your tax advisor, your CPA. I will tell you, whoever files your tax returns isn't necessarily a good tax strategist. So it is important that you have the right people in your corner advising you based on where you're trying to go. And I've learned the hard way, even when we were doing short sales and foreclosures, there were people in hardship that were reaching out to attorneys, and I knew more than the attorney. And just because they have attorney in their name doesn't mean they know what they're doing. So I think what you said, Meny, earlier is a good, if I'm going to go interview accountants, I'm going to ask them how many investment properties they own first, right?
Yeah. Assuming that's where you want to hire the person to help you in that path. Yeah. Katie, do you want to expand on that? Because, you mentioned at the very beginning that one of our sessions, someone saved 50K on the tax advice, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so I agree. Having the right people in your corner is vital to whatever you want to do. It can make or break, your entire process and your entire journey. It's funny, this was actually a topic of conversation for us just a couple of days ago, because we had one of our members who reached out to her financial advisor to have some conversation, and she asked her financial advisor what their net worth is, and he got very offended and wouldn't answer her. And when he finally answered her, his net worth is less than hers currently. And so she fired him because, she was like, well, you and I don't have the same goals, the same dreams. You can't advise me on how to do these things. But he was very upset that she asked. So that is something, of course, we have contacts for all different things, but it's something that we encourage open conversation with the professionals that you have in your lives, right? And to your point, the person who files your taxes may be great with that, but you may need to talk to somebody else about strategies. Talking to your CPA is always such a great first step, in seeing what they say. In our events and our workshops and things, oftentimes we'll give exact questions to ask to start the conversations to see if they know the different strategies that we pitch. And like Lindsey said, having the lenders know the ins and outs of the details of the different deals that you may need to do is so vital, right? You can't be educating the lender on how to do it every single time. If the people in your corner aren't also educating you, you probably have the wrong people.
I love that. Yeah. And just to make a note, by the way, whoever's listening right now, because, we all started somewhere at some point, right? So on a side note, it's okay even to start with someone as an advisor that she or he are not there yet, right? Yep. Because it's like, the booster on a rocket. Right? We have this conversation in different elements. Like, it's someone who's going to help you to get to the next step, right? So it's okay. It depends where you're at, because you can meet the most incredible advisor or whatever, but their level of advice not applicable to you because you're not there yet financially, mentally, or what have you, right? So it's also important to know that. Lindsey?
I'll say there's a bit of a hack here too, that I just want you guys to be mindful of. Your hack is KW Wealth. Your hack is immersing yourself in things like Bigger Pockets. Your hack is talking the language. A lot of my agents don't own an investment property yet. but they can talk the language and they know a lot more than maybe someone who owns like 1 or 2 deals, right? Because they're immersed in it. So if you're not at a place yet where your net worth is what it is, what your clients are looking at or whatnot, don't let that stop you. See, okay, how can I serve that person? And kind of have an answer that if someone does ask you, well, how many properties do you own? Or where do you invest? Or, things like that, you can have a strong, confident answer that you're on the journey with them. I'll tell my clients, like, I'm buying right alongside you. I'm going through the same fears and here's what I see, so yeah, I don't own $50 or, my net worth is not 50 million. But I can advise them because I can speak the language and I talk the talk. So just know as agents that your hack here, if you're not quite where you want to be in terms of net worth or investing, is to immerse yourself in these masterminds, immerse yourself in with the community. So you come across like a true professional they can trust, right? When it comes to investments and purchasing property, people want to be able to trust you. That's probably the most important component here.
Well, and so much of our job in real estate is connecting people, right? Like, I don't know, I'm not in production anymore, but when I was, I don't know how many times it came out of my mouth. I'm not the person, but I know the person. Like I have a guy, I've got a guy. So even if you're not at the same level or doing the same things as some of the clients you're working with or people that you would advise, learn a little bit yourself, go to classes about things that maybe aren't on your wealth plan, but that you could be knowledgeable about, and then know the people who are doing it and be the resource for your clients. Be the person to connect them with the professional that they need. There's a lot of value in that. And like Lindsey said, have people trust you. That'll get you a long way. You don't have to have a net worth of 5 million, 50 million, 1 billion, whatever, to be able to advise people. Just stay educated and be the connector.
If I convert my money to rubles, I'd have 50 million rubles.
Creative strategies.
Good luck with that. So here's another thought, by the way. Oh, and by the way, Katie, I have to seize the text messages. So I'm going to ask you, where can people get that shirt? What's your wealth?
This was our last shirt for our mastermind. So if you join our mastermind group, you can get one. I have some left.
Hashtag wealth building. Love it. So here's another comment to make, and I'm glad that we kind of build up to that point where I'm not going to dive deep into understanding the difference between net worth and cash flow. And it's a whole different conversation. We should definitely schedule one about that. However, whoever is watching right now, don't get caught with like, oh my God, 50 million net worth, right? Because sometimes net worth won't mean much if it doesn't align with your strategy, right? Someone can be a 50 mil, 60 mil, whatever mil net worth, but they're cash poor. They're going to come to you, ask you for money to buy lunch, guaranteed, right? If they don't use the credit card. So part of it is also understand what your strategy is. Number one. Number two is the beautiful thing about being wealthy is it's a mindset, it's a lifestyle. And it changes your attitude about so many things because, and Lindsey mentioned that at some point, right? Whatever it was, and a debt. So, you can't cash flow if you have a debt because it might offset. So it doesn't make any sense. So it takes you to a whole different place, right? Where it's encouraging you to be a smarter person with your money because, you rarely meet people that they're born geniuses with their wealth management. Right? I'm not sure like what age Warren Buffett became a millionaire, but it wasn't early in life. It was much later in life. So it takes a minute, right?
Well, and to your point, it's the same thing in real estate, Meny. We always ask you, our peers, our other agents, how's business? And everybody says we're busy or it's amazing. And why aren't we just saying, hey, how much money do you have in your savings account right now? Because it's the same rule that you're talking about in real estate. I can own a bunch of properties, but if I had to sell them tomorrow, would I have anything left over? Right? And it is important that you recognize that your whole plan needs to fit in accordingly, because you can overextend. I know a lot of investors who however creative, whatever it is that you want to call it, they've overextended. And to your point, it doesn't matter if you're Bill Gates, it doesn't matter what Forbes says you're worth. It's right. If all things needed to sell tomorrow, what would you have left over?
And is it for ego? I think a lot of people just try to hit a certain number or say, David talks about this a lot, you know, how many doors do you own? People are like, oh, I own X number of doors. I own this one. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't really tell me anything. That could be, you know, 100 doors in the worst part of Detroit that's, you know, getting burned down or, you know, whatever, or it can be a handful of properties that are cash flowing, that have equity, that are performing well, that you can manage, right? Like I would much rather have a smaller portfolio that I can manage without that as many headaches. You know, I've been this long enough to know what I like, what I don't like, where I'll invest, where I'll not invest. But I don't want 100 doors. That's 100 headaches. It's 100 problems. And that's morally for people's egos, right? Or like, oh, I'm, you know, 50 million net worth. Well, okay, but you're a slave to the businesses or to the entities that your net worth is tied to. You know, that's not freedom. So a lot of us want financial freedom. That's why we got into real estate. 90% of millionaires are made in real estate, but we have to ask your big why. And that's, you know, your big why, but you know, what is that wealth going to do for you? What is that going to do for your family, and how to get there with the least amount of headaches and trying to keep an ego in check, where it's like, it's not really about how many doors you have or your net worth per se. It's more a total financial picture and why. What would that do for you and your family? So it's, people have to check their egos a little bit and kind of, you know, realize what's really important when it's talking about actually their portfolio as a whole.
I love if we could just flip that video, that little section that you just said, that's perfect. I think it's about, right, defining your mission and finding your mission first and understanding that. And then how is money the vehicle to achieve that for yourself, your family, and then the others who you can impact with it. It means nothing if it's just dollars on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just sold a big $3 million piece of dirt to some Amish folks, and you would have never known they could write a check for that. So, you know, I mean,
We can learn something from the Amish. They're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely it shouldn't be about bragging rights. I agree.
Well, and the reason behind it too, you know, that's what I love so much is like, if it's for your ego, first of all, you don't really have a strong enough motivation to probably get uncomfortable to do things like house hacking, right? But there's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and again, I love it as a community, right? You know, at the local level, you know, in our offices, Southern California, and of course now, which is very exciting, KW launched the whole division. We can, you know, we have a reliable source. We can, you know, a resource. We can reach out. We can connect. So, you know, Katie, we're going to have you guys more on our calls in the future periodically to kind of keep learning more and see what you know, how to encourage agents to be active part of such community, right?
Yeah.
But by the way, watching us, just one comment. If you have questions, either type them in, or you know, you can you know, unmute yourself. You know, ask us questions. This is the time, Branden.
Yeah, I was going to ask Katie along the same lines, Meny. Like some of our other communities, Katie, like luxury and commercial, they're creating like regional ambassadors. Do you see that happening with Wealth?
In some regard. So I'm super active in KWYP also. So we have all the regional ambassadors and everything. I believe it's actually KWRI required to have regional ambassadors. You have to be a community for 6 months to qualify for it. So we're not totally solid on how that's going to play out, but I do see it. We have A, it will be required of us, and B, we have the community asking, we have people stepping up like, hey, I would like to be a thought leader or a regional ambassador for this, you know, in my area. And there's so much opportunity for the syndications and the training and the meetings that we could do with that. So we're working on what that'll look like, but yes.
That's a great question, Branden. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Let me just check if there's any questions here in the chat. Don't be shy, guys. This is the time. You can ask any question whatsoever, right? I don't think Lindsey and Branden will hold back. And if they will, we're going to push hard. Jackie.
I'm an open book.
Hey, Jackie.
Super passionate about real estate investing and just wanted to ask, what's next for all of you guys that are on the call? What are you looking to do next?
Ooh, I'm actually excited to finally start to flip. So after 7 years of watching, 7 years of holding back, not really thinking, I just didn't want to jump into that space. I'm actually excited to flip, but I will only do that, especially in this market. I think that it's actually, we're going to be entering a market for the first time in many, many years where you can perhaps find deals that work in more than one exit strategy. So exit strategy meaning ways to make the deal work. Can I buy the house and flip it? Likely. Then okay, great. But I will only buy that if I can also hold on to it as either a long-term rental or a mid-term rental. Short-term rental will be a bonus strategy, but I don't want to bank on that because of ordinances and restrictions and things like that. So if I can hold on to it as a long-term rental or a mid-term rental and both those strategies and make it work, if I cannot sell it, then that's what I'll do. So I'm excited to explore more creative strategies that just didn't work. We saw too many people getting into the flipping space previously because, you know, they were overpaying for deals and then they got saved by massive appreciation by the house actually just being worth $80,000 more than because of what the market was doing. So a lot of people got, you know, they're going to be getting, we're already seeing it, right? You guys, if you're in the market, you're seeing people who bought flips that are having to sell for losses. They got caught, right? So I'm excited to do that. And I also want to get to more commercial spaces. So would love to own self-storage. That's an asset class that I'm really excited about down the line, and just continue to buy. My plan is to buy another 3 houses at least next year and flip at least 3 properties.
Thank you, Lindsey.
Hi, Jackie. Jackie knows a little bit of our history. I'm similar in where Lindsey's talking. You know, we our business shrank because we did, you know, over 400 flips, but you know, we walked away. We know when to walk away. And so for the last couple of years, it's definitely been interesting to see properties that maybe broke even, lost money. They're still going to be continuing. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that space because we did very well in that space. And I'm looking forward to getting my 2-day designation class out and teaching you guys how to build your businesses and do all the same things. So, you know, for us, I think long-term stuff is to do more outside of the state investing. I do like RV parks. I do like that stuff very much. And there's more and more people buying RVs. So it's almost like a good fit, right? And you don't have to keep the RV around forever, that you can kick them out in a month, you know, which is awesome. So anyway, I'm being facetious just so you guys know.
Branden, by the way, do you have a date for your first next seminar here in this area or not yet?
I'm going to coordinate that with Simon here. So I've pretty much gotten most of the content done. So middle of March is what we're going to shoot for.
Awesome. And on the side question, you know, both for you and Lindsey, because both of you have, you know, running a successful team. Jackie as well, by the way, here in the South Bay area. But are you guys looking to expand your team? And in that sense, are you know, what's the criteria to hire new professionals?
Lindsey, you start.
Yeah, so I am always looking. I wouldn't say we're on a hiring spree right now. I was earlier this year, and we brought on like 3 or 4 new agents. But I will not turn anyone away if they're a great fit. Kind of prerequisite for it is that they have to talk the talk, right? We get a lot of bigger pockets clients. We have a lot of people who expect David Green, bigger pockets representation. So they have to know that language and that jargon and work in Southern California. We serve anywhere from Santa Clarita area, the Valley, all the way down to San Diego, mountain communities, desert communities. So we cover a wide area. So we're looking, yes. I'm not just gonna bring anybody on. We're very picky, as my SoCal agents know. They're all handpicked and I love each one of them dearly. We're kind of more like a family. So yes, for the right fit, 100%. But not like looking to like on a hiring spree right now, I would say, but I won't turn away a good candidate either.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a good team for sure. Branden?
Yeah, I would definitely ditto on everything Lindsey said. I think if anyone is on this call and wants to talk to Tammy about what that looks like, getting back on her team, I will be full-time back in California by February. And you know, time to go kick some ass again. So I'm ready.
That's awesome. Katie, anything else that you want to share with us to kind of summarize the KWRI Wealth Club?
So I saw a couple things in the chat. I just want to address real quick.
Please, yeah.
So let's see. Are there any prerequisites to joining the wealth community? No. Just have a desire to want to learn and, you know, like be nice to others or teach others. But no, there's none. You don't have to have so many investments or, you know, have X amount available for any syndications. We just, please come learn and grow with us. We would love to have you there. And then I saw a question about asking if there's calls where people can come check them out. Our calls that we do, our training calls, are exclusive to members. It's one of the benefits of the membership. However, we do have many panels and breakouts happening at Family Reunion. And actually this afternoon, well, afternoon for me, in about an hour, we have a call at our wealth workshop. There were about 35 KWYP members who went to the wealth workshop, and they're hopping on to share their takeaways and their ahas. So if you want to hear what the conversation is like in the room, you're more than welcome to come to that call. We have a bunch of people hopping on to hear. So if you want, it won't be Brett presenting, but if you want to hear the things that were talked about and the impact it made on those people's lives, we'd love to have you. I can drop the link in the chat if any of you want to hop on.
Yeah, that's great. And I appreciate the pitch, by the way, you know, because we're always telling our agents about the KW, you know, events, and they're strategically twice a year, every 6 months, right?
Yep.
Family reunion every in February, 6 months in August. Then it's in Austin, Texas, mega camp, and repeat. And I can't express, you know, enough how valuable those events are, especially the family event, because it's the bigger one with, like, you know, 3 days nonstop, back-to-back masterminds and record sessions, and the entire community internationally are showing up, not just locally. So it's like, you know, usually the 11 to 15,000 people sharing tons of stuff, and you can opt into all those sessions. So that's a well worth investment for sure. And we're going to be there with a, you know, big crowd, and it's going to be awesome. Katie, thank you. Yeah. Branden, Lindsey, just final words to share with the crowd.
I would say, you guys, this is an incredible opportunity. You know, I would argue that for your guys' personal and current and future net worth, join a team like KW Wealth. Don't join like a country club or a Rotary club, right? Like, get around other people who are looking to build wealth for the right reasons, like-minded, using their real estate for good, and they're going to actually help you get to success. You're not just going to help yourself and your family. You're going to help a lot of people in the process, as well as your own clients. So this is a great opportunity. I hope a lot of you guys consider it.
Awesome.
I would say use this as an opportunity to really learn and understand the different types of math around real estate investing and why certain people lean towards certain products. So in our certified investor system, we teach you how to create an investor profile. And when you get to a place where you're looking at general real estate, you get to look at it from two lenses, and that is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they got their kids, this is a great home for them, or more importantly, what is the potential return on a property like this for any of my investors? So I would encourage you to really, you know, look at this from different lenses, or an opportunity to look at it from different lenses. And there's so many people now that are interested in real estate than ever before. This is where you build your skill set and you know what you're talking about, because people are already online. You know, Lindsey's mentioned bigger pockets. There's already people leveraging bigger pockets. And if you can't talk the talk, you might not have an opportunity for you to create some transactional business for yourself. So make sure you're learning and growing and developing, and you're getting your feet wet.
Awesome. Well, we lost Katie. She had to jump to a different call, but Katie Campbell with KW Wealth in KW International. That was awesome. Thank you. If you're going to hear us later on, Branden Lowder, Lindsey Iskierka, you guys are awesome, always willing to show up and share from your experience and your wisdom. And I did drop on the chat the link to our KW Shares community. We have multiple channels. This is one of them, the YouTube. We recorded all the sessions dated back to 2018, before Zoom was a thing. And we should keep sharing the wisdom and all the goodness that you guys are able to provide us. So
Hey, Meny, just while you know, we appreciate your leadership and your wisdom as well. And thanks for bringing us together.
Yeah. Thank you, Meny.
We're here to serve. Thank you, guys.
I jump
Bye,
off.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody.